Episode 4: Crossing State Lines, a Killer on the Move. Welcome back to our in-depth exploration of the life of Ted Bundy. In our last episode, we detailed the beginning of Bundy's killing spree in the Pacific Northwest, where he abducted and murdered numerous young women, leaving a trail of fear and confusion in his wake. Today, in Episode 4, we will follow Bundy as he crosses state lines, extending his killing spree to Utah, Colorado, and beyond. We'll also explore the moments when authorities came close to capturing him and how he managed to stay one step ahead. After his bold abductions at Lake Sammamish, Ted Bundy knew that the net was closing in on him. With witnesses providing a description of both him and his car, Bundy decided it was time to leave Washington and continue his killing spree elsewhere. In the fall of 1974, he moved to Salt Lake City, Utah, to attend law school at the University of Utah. But Ted wasn't there to study, he was there to hunt. Within weeks of his arrival, young women began disappearing under similar circumstances to the cases in Washington. On October 2, 1974, Nancy Wilcox, a 16-year-old high school student, vanished after being last seen with a man driving a tan Volkswagen Beetle. Her body was never found. Just a few weeks later, on October 18th, 17-year-old Melissa Smith, the daughter of a local police chief, disappeared after leaving a pizza parlor. Her body was discovered 9 days later, strangled and sexually assaulted. Bundy's killing spree continued in Utah with terrifying efficiency. His next victim was 17-year-old Laura Aim, who disappeared on Halloween night in 1974 after leaving a cafe in Leahy, Utah. Her body was found in a canyon nearly a month later, showing signs of brutal assault. Bundy's method was now well established. He would abduct, assault, and kill his victims before disposing of their bodies in remote locations. His ability to strike at random, targeting young women who fit a specific profile, made him almost impossible to predict and catch, but Bundy's arrogance would soon lead to a critical mistake. On November 8, 1974, Bundy attempted to abduct Carol Duranche, an 18-year-old woman, from a shopping mall in Murray, Utah. Posing as a police officer, Bundy approached Carol, claiming her car had been broken into and that she needed to accompany him to the station to file a report. Carol, sensing something was wrong, became suspicious, but reluctantly got into Bundy's car. As Bundy drove, Carol noticed that they weren't heading toward the police station. Her suspicions grew, and when Bundy suddenly pulled over and tried to handcuff her, Carol fought back with everything she had. Miraculously, Carol managed to escape Bundy's clutches and flagged down a passing car. She reported the incident to the real police, who now had a crucial piece of the puzzle: a living witness who had encountered the mysterious Ted, driving the tan Volkswagen Beetle. This encounter marked the first time Bundy's carefully constructed facade had cracked, and it wouldn't be the last. Just hours after his failed attempt to abduct Carol Duranche, Bundy attended a high school play in Bountiful, Utah, where he encountered 17-year-old Deborah Kent. After the play, Deborah went to her car to retrieve something for her parents, but she never returned. Her body was never found, but a key piece of evidence was left behind: a handcuff key that matched the handcuffs used on Carol Duranche. Despite these close calls, Bundy remained elusive. In early 1975, he shifted his focus to Colorado, where he continued his spree of terror. On January 12, 1975, Karen Campbell, a 23-year-old nurse, vanished from a hotel hallway in Snowmass, Colorado, while on a ski trip with her fiancé. Her body was found a month later in a snowbank, beaten and strangled. Bundy's ability to move across state lines, coupled with the lack of communication between law enforcement agencies at the time, allowed him to evade capture for much longer than anyone could have anticipated. His charm, intelligence, and meticulous planning made him a master of deception. But even as the bodies piled up and the evidence against him grew, Bundy continued to believe that he could outsmart everyone. The pattern of disappearances continued in Colorado, with more young women vanishing in seemingly random abductions. Bundy's victims included Julie Cunningham, Denise Oliverson, and Lynette Culver, all of whom disappeared between March and May of 1975. Their bodies, like many others, were either never found or discovered months later, leaving their families devastated and authorities frustrated. As Ted Bundy crossed state lines, he left behind a trail of fear and tragedy. Despite the increasing efforts of law enforcement, Bundy continued to evade capture, moving from one state to another, always staying one step ahead. His ability to blend in, to appear normal, even likable, allowed him to continue his horrific acts of violence with little interference. But Ted Bundy's luck wouldn't last forever. In our next episode, we'll explore the moments that led to his first arrest, the trial that followed, and how he managed to escape not once, but twice from custody. The man who seemed untouchable would soon find himself behind bars, but even that wouldn't be enough to stop him. Thank you for joining me in this episode of our series on Ted Bundy. If you found this episode insightful, please subscribe and leave a review. Your support helps us continue to bring you these in-depth explorations of history's most infamous figures. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.